everybody. My name is Pelumi David. Today I'm with a very special guest.
Who is special guest?
Is you?
Okay, hi. My name is Yemi David. She said I should not say Pastor Yemi David because I'm here as a parent. So I'm Yemi David.
Okay. For this series, we're having a Dear Parents session. So during the week, the Ignite team sent messages that they would like to tell to their parents or things they wish their parents knew. So I'm representing the teens, and then my dad representing the adults. So this is all to make the relationship between teenagers and parents better, to improve that relationship. So
Okay.
the first message was many teenagers wrote that they wish their parents trusted them more.
Many teenagers what?
Wrote that they wish their parents trusted them more.
Okay.
They said, we are aware that trust is earned, but it feels like our parents do not trust us to make the right decisions. The person said, I personally think parents should give us the freedom to make decisions for ourselves, which also means allowing us make mistakes. This will help prepare us for adulthood when we have to make all our decisions ourselves. With trust as teenagers, we can also become more independent. So Daddy, from a parent's perspective, what do you feel about more trust for teenagers in the 21st century?
Yeah, I actually agree because looking at my own upbringing, I was in boarding house, had to make a lot of decisions myself. And looking back, that helped me to be stronger. So I think we parents need to allow them to make certain decisions themselves. I think the issue here is balance. Okay, most parents are afraid. They don't want their children or teenagers to go through the kind of maybe mistakes they went through, and that is understandable. So the balance is knowing which areas to allow them make decisions, and then other areas where you really need to come in, not like living their lives for them, or not or growing a child that will become a wimp in the future because you make every decision for them, what they should eat, what they should wear, everything. I think that would backfire on the long run because that same child will still face life when you are not really there as a parent. So I think it's balance. And teenagers should understand that some of our parents have been through hell and high water. And as much as they want the teenagers to be mature adults, when they grow up, they would rather they don't actually go through certain avoidable mistakes. So I would love teenagers to understand that while you want to be mature when you grow up through some level of independence and making of decisions, also there in life there are some mistakes that are avoidable. So when a parent sees that a child or a teenager is tending towards some of those traumatic and avoidable mistakes, they might want to wade in. But I really agree with that teenager that parents need to allow teenagers to make some decisions to strengthen them for the future ahead.
Thank you. I agree with what my dad said. The second message that was common with many teenagers was they want their parents to give them more privacy. A teenager wrote, I think privacy is linked with trust as well, like not asking about their phone or who they are talking to. A teenager mentioned that because their parents do not give them a lot of privacy, they withdraw from them and get distant. Studies have also shown that children of strict parents tend to be better liars who lie more and tend to be sneakier. So Daddy, what's your response to
I don't have any response to that.
What's your response to that?
Okay, we have had. Actually, let me tell you something about life. The phone, the advent of the smartphone is really scary, okay? Especially for parents. For young stars, it's their domain. For many of us adults, it's still... So there's this weariness of what is he doing on the phone? What is she doing on the phone? I think what will help a lot is we parents having better conversations with our teenagers. Trust is better when there is open communication, okay? When the teenager can be as open as what you do on the phone, or open as to which friends you have. There's a level, because what parents are looking for is the detail of it, not details, some information about what's going on. So if you have some bit of information what's going on, you can let go easily. But when it looks like you're in the dark, I don't know who he's talking to, I don't know who she's talking to, I don't know when they talk. But when a teenager is sincere to an appreciable degree, and you're able to, I'm going to go and talk to my friend, and it's that open, it builds trust. I think it's a two-way thing. For parents, teenagers should know that parents are still a bit scared of how even their phones is a big thing. The things that phones can do, and the other thing is fear. Okay, parents hear a lot of things. Teenagers should understand that they hear all kinds of things from news, of course, fake news, but some true stuff about how about nudity, about people getting into relationships that are not too okay online, about bullying online. All those things are there. And the reason why many of those things thrive is because the teenagers don't open up on time. So sometimes it gets to some crisis level before the parents get to know. But if from the outset, a teenager knows that my parent was once a teenager, they need to realize that. When teenagers look at adults or parents, it looks like they don't understand me. Like we've always been parents. No, we're also once teenagers. Whatever they are going through now, we've been through it. Maybe not with the smartphone. We've been through it. So it's not like there's hatred or distrust. It's just that we want them to be safe. Okay. So, but we don't go about it maybe the best of ways. But when they understand the intent that they want me to be safe than to be sorry in the future, then they would, while they get a bit agitated at the prognosing, if you understand that word, they also know, okay, they just want to be safe, and then they should help their heart too by open communication. The moment you are not open as regards to what you say, what you do, you are leaving room for misunderstanding. The moment the teenager locks the door now for like 3 hours on the phone, a parent will be wondering what's happening inside that room. What are they saying? And it doesn't have to be a negative thing. I'm not saying you don't need your privacy. I mean, I believe as children grow, 15, 16, 17 up, and they need their privacy. But please communicate more. The moment I have an idea of the kind of friends you keep, the kind of chat you have, and even there's a challenge, maybe somebody's bullying you or something's coming up, and you're able to open up about it, they can trust you more. Okay. The reason why you sit on your chair without checking your chair most of the time is the first time you got that chair, when you sat on it, it didn't fall. The second time, it didn't fall. It gets to a time when you don't even look at the chair, just sit on it. That chair had built trust, kind of. So the same way, there's a way a teenager is open with communication about what they're doing, what they're about to do. It's easier for our parents to trust them. But we'll work on ourselves. Our parents, if you're listening, it's good we also pray for wisdom, because the challenges that they are having as teenagers now, it's not the same that we had. So trying to use the tools or implements that our own parents or grandparents used on them might be a serious misfit. It could be doing more damage than what you're trying to. I mean, like what she said about research, that children of strict parents often become very, very powerful liars, because in the name of being strict, the child is looking for a way out, and they become creative about giving you false things, which we call lies. And they can go on and on. So there has to be that. And I think we should allow them make their own mistakes. Now, when I say mistakes, not the life-threatening mistakes, not mistakes that would really, like that. Okay, I hope I've not talked too much.
Okay, some Ignite teams.
You didn't say that what I said. But it was okay. It was good?
Yes.
Okay.
Some Ignite teams also mentioned.
What Ignite teams? Sorry.
Ignite teams.
Okay. Which church?
Global Impact Church.
Okay.
Some Ignite teams also mentioned that they would like their parents to treat them like adults. A teenager also mentioned that they would like their parents to talk to them like an adult, talking about the real realities of life.
Okay.
Because when parents don't talk to us about these things, we turn to friends and social media, which most times gives us what is false. But before I asked my dad on his stance on the message, I was going to say that as teenagers, for them to treat us like adults, we also have to behave like adults, like in responsibilities and different things that we are responsible over acting like an adult will also propel people to treat us like adults and talk to us like adults. For example, like a child, you cannot tell a child some certain things because of the way the child is acting. And if you continue to act like a child as a teenager, your parents won't talk to you about the things you want them to talk to you, like relationships or just bullying or how to work in the workplace, because they'll feel like you can't handle it. So that's one thing we should also take note of as teenagers. So.
Okay, I think I agree with what that teenager was saying to an extent, because we parents made this mistake a lot. I have made that mistake, and the challenge is it's taking people for granted unknowingly as parents. You know, the moment you see someone grow in your hands from day one, babyhood, toddler, it happens even in life. When you have somebody that you knew how they evolve, you know how they grew, you know, you take them for granted. And people change seasons. A child that is 7-year-old, a 7-year-old son or daughter, when that child is 17, it's not a 7-year-old, but because you saw the person grow, you can be treating that person by that default mode of my child. And this person is already 15, 16, 17. They are not the same. Emotionally, sexually, physically, educationally, they are not the same. So I think parents need to just be aware that this child, yes, it's my child, but is also evolving. Is no more a baby. So I should also adjust the way I treat and deal. And I think that will do that will help a lot.
Yes. Okay, so this message was on religion.
Okay.
This teenager mentioned that he wants her parents not to force the religion on them, because as Africans, when we're in a certain religion, Christianity or Islam, we grew up in that religion. We don't necessarily experience it ourselves, like not our choice. Like we grew up, we have to go to church. Some teenagers mentioned that they don't know why they're going to church for a very long time, or what's the purpose of, and they get angry that they are being forced
to do this.
And because of that, they now want to go away from that religion or from that. So
yeah, I mean, like our children, they grew up in church because we're pastors before before they started coming. Okay, so I understand that scenario. Just this is the life. You go to church on Sunday and midway. I think a lot has to do with also communication. Okay, parents need to talk a lot to their words about it's not religion, it's a relationship. The moment we as parents communicate that and exemplify that, it's going to help a lot. So it doesn't become a dogma. It doesn't become just a mechanical thing, which if it's mechanical, they might do it while you are there. When you are not there, they'll do something else. And then I want parents, so if you're listening, to pray for the children. Everyone needs a rebel. I didn't grow up in a Christian home like that. My parents attended Methodist. My dad wasn't going to church at all throughout my growing up years. But I had an encounter with God. So I think I had an encounter with God. And that encounter helped me. Now I know why I'm saved. I know why I go to church. So parents should also ask that their children should have an encounter with God. While you are teaching, you are educating, you are communicating the love of God to them, you're exemplifying it, but pray that each of your children should have their own personal encounter with God. And God will always hear their prayer fast because they are children. But the moment they have that personal encounter, even when you say they should not go to church, they say they're going to church. We have people in our church where their parents don't go to church, but the children come to church because that child has a personal relationship with God. I think we should look at it from a perspective of relationship with God. That means in terms of salvation, what Christ came to do for humanity, and then do more of communicating with them and then asking that they will have their own personal encounter. That encounter, you can't give it to them. Only God can do that. You can preach to them, you can encourage them, but their own encounter will last them a lifetime.
And I know as teenagers, we feel like the Christianity that has been forced on us has many laws and restrictions. But when we have a relationship with God, is the things that we do are influenced by what we read in the Bible, not like somebody telling us what to do or don't do this, don't dress like that. We will come to realize it ourselves. Like partying, all these things that we think that are cool. When we have a relationship with God, the Bible influences us, the Holy Spirit speaks to us, and we know what not to do and what to do, not people telling us to do it. So, our last message was about communication. It was split into two. So the first part is that parents should be careful about the words they say around their teenagers and even our siblings, like when we're talking to them or even when we're arguing or just relating, that the words they say to us sometimes that can affect us, even though they do it unknowingly, knowingly or unknowingly, the words they speak to us around us and our siblings. And then the other part was that teenagers wrote, which was the most common, that they wish their parents listened to them more, that even when they are talking to them, they should listen to what they have to say. And also, like, so it's a two-way thing, not them just pouring information on us and not allowing us to express ourselves. That's why a teenager wrote that most times the parents think we're giving excuses, but if they let us finish and they actually listen to our side, maybe they can understand our perspective as well. So listening.
Wow, that's good. That's a good feedback for us parents, especially about listening, because for me, I got to learn that more about listening, because we sometimes conclude for people, not even just teenagers, for others. It happens in marriages. The husband doesn't listen to the wife, or wife doesn't listen to the husband. We just conclude that this is what happened, And listening itself is an art, okay? It takes patience, and it takes placing value on the other person. When you place a high value on the other person, then what they have to say matters. That's why anger can be really, really hindrance to quality communication. We make those mistakes, but when that happens, let's go back and correct it. I'm not saying we are perfect yet, but you make those mistakes, but go back and correct it. Maybe you didn't listen at first, then go back and listen. Or when you are asked to listen, then you calm down and listen. Sometimes not listening to somebody makes it look like the person does not have any good idea or does not have a life to live, and that's not fair. It doesn't mean they are correct, but let's listen to them. Not just the teenagers, but much more teenagers. And then the first part of the communication about
the words.
The words, yeah. I want our teenagers also remember that our parents are not perfect. Many of the things they enjoy now in terms of understandings, enlightenment, most of our parents didn't have it, so there will be a lot of mistakes. I would love every teenager to make a decision to have a better life. That no matter how great their parents are, that they will live a better life. So when you see those mistakes, you don't take it out on them in that sense. You pray for them, pray for your parents. I pray for my parents a lot growing up, and then learn from it. And then when there's an opportunity for you to help them better, you can, but don't take it as a ministry where you try to be correcting your parents or frowning at your parents. No, they're not perfect. Most parents are making do with what they lived with, and most of it came from their own parents. So which was not enough, but you have better things to learn from church, books. We didn't have those books. So I agree that parents, there are a lot of lapses along this line, various percentages in listening, in analyzing things. So when you sit as a parent, pray for your parents, and then have a desire to be better than them when you grow up, while you watch God help them improve. Because the joy of parents in the future will be to see them have better marriages, closer relationship with God that we didn't even have, in spite of the ones we seem to have. We want to see them worship God even better. So, God, thank you for my children. Thank you for these kids. Praise God.
Thank you. So that was the last message for our Dear Parents session. Thank you, teenagers, for sending your messages through. Thank you for giving us our responses. So today is Easter Sunday, so we should celebrate God's Jesus' resurrection as a family, even though we can't be together as a church. Have fun with your parents, have fun with your siblings. Remember to keep safe, wash your hands, sanitize, avoid touching your face, and we'll meet again next week. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to have another session where I will collect messages from parents and with down 10 teenagers so that they also know what we are thinking. Thank you. Have a super lockdown. Bye.
Thank you.